Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am Bansert, steampunk author and developer of the role-playing game Nightwatch, and of course I'm here with Enwin. One of the most common things I see in my comment section is that people forgot about the punk in steampunk. And yes, it's definitely true that punk is often used as a kind of decorative suffix to a word. Slap it on any pastiche like ocean punk or plunger punk and call it a day. But if punk can mean everything and nothing at the same time, it stops being useful. So today I want to pin down what punk could mean in a literary sense, not just as an aesthetic or a fashion, and especially why that matters for storytelling. But to do that, we'll have to look at cyberpunk's origins and what punk historically meant. So join me today as we're going to explore the punk in steampunk. Steampunk, dieselpunk, cockpunk, atompunk, whatever punk. BioShock alone has been defined as ocean punk, water punk, sea punk, pressure punk, just to name a few. And oh yeah, somewhere there was also diesel punk and steampunk in there. Not so cool punk is another one. I could go on. Let's not get started on all the punk variations that have been attributed to games like Fallout. And before anyone asks in the comments what my thoughts are on these particular franchises and things like diesel punk and atompunk, I already made various videos on these topics. Whenever discussing steampunk, I have to emphasize this. Here on this channel, we use the word steampunk to refer to three different things. That being the aesthetic that people probably know from things like video games, the costume culture, and the genre. I mention this because in this video I'll be primarily talking about genre writing, with some mild references to the aesthetics and how these are applied to both fiction and costume culture. What prompted this video was a fruitful discussion I had with some people on Discord, where we discussed subcultures in genre writing. It's fitting because the term steampunk is actually derived from another genre, that being cyberpunk. And steampunk, from its conception, was meant to be cyberpunk in the past. You might question, what does that mean? Cyberpunk is a subgenre of science fiction that takes readers 5 minutes into the future. And that is now primarily associated with things like Ghost in the Shell and The Matrix. But back in the 70s and 80s, cyberpunk was far more a Wild West than it is today. Cyberpunk was conceived at the dawn of information technology. The internet was a novelty that could only be accessed through dial-up modems, so many of the things that we take for granted today was utter speculation back then. People assumed that by the year 2000 we didn't have to work anymore and that everything was done by robots, assuming that the world hadn't been baptized in nuclear fire. This attitude to this new technology is best symbolized by movies like Hackers and Max Headroom, where computer technology is this magical thing that could physically manipulate reality and brainwash people. Okay, well actually that might still be true. Hackers were these magical beings that could change your identity at the turn of a dime. They could reach into your analog phone wirelessly without the use or cameras and drones that could map out entire buildings, etc. This also happened to be one of my favorite eras of cyberpunk, because the aesthetic back then was very DIY, which reflected the computer nerd culture at the time. Back then you couldn't just buy a computer. Upgrading your system actually took a lot of technical skill. Anyone who had been dabbling in 3D printing technology these last 10 years probably know what I'm talking about. Floors covered in wires and empty soda cans everywhere. Exposed print boards were collecting dust, while matrix printers and modems were making these obnoxious noises in the background. Not to mention that computers were massive compared to today. So it's no wonder that creatives of the era imagined the future to be completely covered in print boards and power cables, like is described in Harlan Ellison's "I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream." But there was another movement happening in parallel. Much of the 1980s pop culture reflected the anxiety of the Cold War. Thus we got punk music, which was a kind considered to be the voice of the working class. Punk also had a very wild visual aesthetic. We're talking mohawks, leather jackets, torn up jeans, spiked armbands, and in particular safety pins for some reason. It was a hostile and colorful look. However, it would also become associated with violent activism. In the Netherlands, for example, we had the so-called krakers. which basically means squatters in English. These events took place a few decades after the war. After all, the baby boomers had grown up now, which led to a massive housing shortage, so students and other youths took it upon themselves to reappropriate abandoned buildings. But as you can imagine, when the wrecking machine came down to tear down these buildings, the squatters refused to leave. And before long, the police was sent in to clear these houses. Now you have to imagine that if people saw these battles between the police and the squatters playing out on TV, that among these LARPing ninjas and uniformed police officers there would be these guys with bright green and orange mohawks throwing bricks. Now the squatters had a very justified resentment, but in places like Germany such street violence was a lot more ideological, and of course there would be people among them in very outspoken clothing. Hence, for better or for worse, punk became associated with political radicalism and street violence. And until recently, in Germany, anything with the word punk in it had a bad rep, even something as harmless as steampunk. And this had a profound impact on pop culture. When I grew up in the 90s, many games, especially in the cyberpunk genre, had these gangbangers with bright green mohawks, spike jackets, and army boots. Just look at games such as Shadowrun and the amount of mohawks you see on those covers. What do you want, you little punk? Constantly mowing in the background while I'm trying to do a recording. I'm trying to earn your food here. Yeah. But what is punk exactly, and where does the word even come from? The first known written use of the word punk, spelled as punk with CK, appeared in 1575, referring to delinquents, good-for-nothings, and usually prostitutes. In Measure, for instance, marrying a punk, my lord, is pressing to death, whipping, and hanging. Each of these early examples referenced women of low moral fiber. Later, it became more associated with long delinquents and low-status criminals. In the 1960s, it was adopted for a new, very aggressive genre of garage rock now known as punk. Today, we associate the term mostly with its music, but its anti-authoritarian, anti-conformist attitude gave birth to an entire subculture. This rebellious attitude grew out from social and economic tensions from the 1970s and 80s. It was the era of the Cold War, post-colonialism, unemployment, and a whole generation that felt completely abandoned by the system. Around the second half of the 1970s, a band called the Sex Pistols rose to prominence. Punk music became the voice of the working class and the disillusioned youth. Bands weren't about technical perfection, they were about attitude. Johnny Rotten from the Sex Pistols, for instance, not only did he make a mockery of God Save the Queen, it was rumored that he whipped out his Johnson in public and pissed on the audience. I assumed this story was true until recently I delved more into it, and it turned out to be more an amalgamation of several stories with some exaggeration on top. However, the fact that many people still believe this story to be true tells you a lot about people's view of these bands and performing artists. It was aggressive, it was messy, and it was deliberately confrontational. You didn't dress like that to blend in. You dressed like that to tell the world to piss off, and that made them a perfect target for the media, as I explained before. In that regard, punk was a perfect match with DIY aesthetics of the hackers of those days. If you look at media from the 90s that include themes like hacking, youth delinquency, these youths are often depicted as punks. In a greater scheme of things, punk was a rejection of the post-war status quo. It was supposed to be anti-authoritarian, anti-civility, and a rebuke of Western liberalism and the notions like the American dream. However, if it's against a lot of things, it didn't really stand for anything. By the time that I grew up, the heyday of punk was at an end. Punk was being played on every major radio station. My school was crowded with kids who embraced the punk aesthetic. My own sister was heavily into the punk scene herself, and she did merchandise for various bands like the Truckener Keks and Herman Brood. And what I learned from many of the punkers in my day, most of them were just guys who wanted to be left alone. I remember one in particular punker who in town was really into this very street ghetto type of aesthetic and loved to talk about street fighting, but in his own time he was taking elderly people on walks through the park. So yeah, the mid-90s where I grew up, punk was fairly domesticated. Did any of this translate into steampunk? Not really. I mean, many people will point out at the fashion, and yeah, there is this DIY aesthetic with a lot of putting stuff together that don't belong. Sure. I mean, there's a correlation there. That steampunk wasn't immune to the culture wars, and it's one of those reasons I stopped doing podcasts, because various nuts attempted to drag me into whatever activism they were engaging in at that particular week. Nor do I find it very useful as a genre descriptor, because heck, bloggers and writers turned it into a marketing suffix for every genre under the sun. I made a reaction video before called "Does Steampunk Have an Identity Crisis?" Well, in my view, you first need to have an identity before you can have a crisis of one, and I just don't think that identity had been firmly established in a literary sense. Well, I still get a lot of reactions during conversation that steampunk is a subgenre of fantasy, but before I go off on another tangent, I made an entire video on debunking that claim, so check that one out. And of course, don't forget to give these videos a like, a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Because much of that misconception stems from the fact that people do not make a distinction between genre and aesthetic. Before I go on, let's get some things clear. Steampunk is a subgenre of science fiction, defined as cyberpunk in the past. The whole fetishization of steam power, steam engines, is part of the aesthetic, not the genre. Hence, the visual design is not unique to steampunk books, and you can see this in things such as fantasy, gaslamp, and of course dystopian fiction. What's also important here is that steampunk, be it alternate history or otherwise, is highly influenced by the pop culture perception of the past. This is also the reason why the focus is so much on the British Empire, because that's just what pops into people's minds when they think of the 19th century, and it's also the origin of early pop culture. Think of characters like Sherlock Holmes, Sweeney Todd, Jack the Ripper, Queen Victoria. Yeah, I know some of these are historical characters, however, people know them through the lens of pop culture. Hence, in fiction, people like Johnny Rotten will always be the wizard. So, how did the punk end up in steampunk? At the time of its conception, computers and the internet were brand new. Just like AI today, it brought a lot of uncertainty. Combine that with the tension of the Cold War and global commercialism, you get these corporate-controlled societies where everything relies on one type of information technology or another. Hence, the stories that were being written took commercial exploitation and government authoritarian inclinations to the logical extreme. These stories needed an appropriate name. And of course, because they were heavily focused on the increasing automation of work and society at large, the hypothetical consequences of that shift. The individual became smaller and smaller in the grand scheme of things. Workers were but cogs in a machine. Citizens became customers to exploit, and none of them had a choice in it. Those who refused to partake in this commercial exploitation ended up at the bottom of these literal hierarchies in which neon-lit skyscrapers dominated the horizon. Cyber societies in which people could be jacked into internet 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, year in, year out, from the cradle to the grave. However, there would be people who knew how to navigate these digital highways without the scrutiny of corporations or governments, assuming there is a distinction between those two entities in these settings. Of course, we're talking about people capable of hacking society itself, using its infrastructure in ways it was never intended. People who would consider themselves to be decent citizens would look on these vagabonds as punks, and that being the era of punk rock, the name cyberpunk was conceived. Cyberpunk, however, was a product of its time. Although computers were making their way into everyday life, to most people, how they worked was a mystery. Computers, and especially the internet, had magical qualities. The cliché of the hackers hammering away at the keyboard while breaking into top-secret installations with rival hackers hot on their heels was conceived in this era, because this was genuinely how people believed hacking worked. Hence, hackers in these settings might as well be actual wizards. The writers of the early cyberpunks were no exception. William Gibson famously told his audience how embarrassed he was about including a modem in a scene without actually knowing what it did. For a younger audience, the modem is the precursor to the router, except it used a dial-up connection. Hence, whenever somebody was using the internet in those days, you could no longer use the phone. Also, you paid by the minute. Internet was a very expensive hobby back then. Also, modems made these extremely obnoxious sounds. It's likely that William Gibson, at this point of his life, had never even seen the internet, let alone witchcraft, like a modem. However, what these early Cyberpunk writers did get right is that hackers spoke their own language. They had their own slang, their own rituals, their own little priesthood of knowledge, and what made them unique wasn't simply the machines they used. It was their entire identity revolved around that technology. It isn't even that unusual when you think about it. Motorcycle clubs, car collectors, RC hobbyists, 3D printer communities, AI researchers, technology creates subcultures. And even new technology brings with it a sense of unease, even fear. AI needs no explanation. But what about 3D printed guns? Or other tools the government cannot control? Discussions online are already rife with speculation about bans, restrictions, and attempts to regulate who is even allowed to be on social media. Decent citizens usually dismiss counter-narratives as conspiracy theories. The punk, whether they be literal street punks or digital ones, do not. The punk refuses to play by the rules. He doesn't trust authorities or believe that anything really matters except survival. In this ruthless world of cyberpunk, those who obey are sheep. The punk chooses to be a wolf. Or in the words of a certain character,
in the end, what separates a man from a slave? Money? Power? No. A man chooses. A slave obeys.
In many ways, Andrew Ryan is a punk, at least in the philosophical sense. In a world of governmental overreach and moral busybodies, he sees himself as a rebel visionary, slipping through the cracks of international laws by building his own technological utopia in the most unlikely of places, that being the bottom of the ocean. There he created a haven for rebels like himself, and it might have succeeded too if it wasn't for a conman named Fontaine. For Fontaine realized in a city made for wolves, there are still people who need to scrub the toilets. By the time Ryan realizes that Fontaine is mobilizing the impoverished against his rule, Ryan abandons his objectivist philosophy and becomes like the very tyrants he desired to defy. What's interesting about BioShock 1, in most cyberpunk stories a man like Andrew Ryan is purely the antagonist. BioShock plays this straight, however. In Rapture you are literally bred to be a slave. Andrew Ryan's perfect servant, yet your entire journey is about defying him. And then, in the end, in an act of spite, Ryan proves his point, that you are always a slave to programming and conditioning. And with his final command, would you kindly, he forces you to kill him, just to prove you cannot defy the script. And if that doesn't sound like cyberpunk in the past, I don't know what does. What does that say about steampunk in a literary sense? At this time, there are not many books written this way. Steampunk is a very poorly understood niche. Most books I'm aware of are actually fantasy with a steampunk skin. But there's the difference engine. The first book written to be an actual steampunk, created by Cyberpunk authors Bruce Sterling and William Gibson. Among its cast is Sybil Geralt. She's the daughter of an executed Luddite revolutionary, which already puts her on the margins of society. In 1855 she becomes an adventuress drifting through the underbelly of London. For those who don't know, a difference engine is a mechanical computer proposed by George Babbage. However, his original designs were failures. But in the difference engine, his invention becomes a success and soon dominates every aspect of life in the British Empire. As an aside, Babbage's announcement of his design for the difference engine in the Royal Society marks the date of International Steampunk Day, the 14th of July. Also, there is a modern reproduction of functional difference engines in the Science Museums of London and the Computer History Museum in California. But back to the book. Sybil is an outsider in a world transformed by early information technology running on punch-card bureaucracy. None of these characters in the difference engine have any control over these developments, yet she gets pulled into a conspiracy involving stolen punch cards, political intrigue, and the kinds of systems ordinary people were never meant to see. Everything is registered, catalogued, and traced. Like many cyberpunk protagonists, Sybil becomes a pawn in the games played by people far above her station, while barely understanding the technology that controls her life. However, Sybil is an adventuress. She understands people and can make them do whatever she needs them to by manipulating their emotions in various ingenious ways that don't always revolve around her being attractive. In short, Sybil Geralt is a Victorian street-level hacker without a keyboard. One of the core themes of Cyberpunk is how people interact with their technological environment. In Sybil's case, it's about someone who is essentially a Luddite. People who refuse to benefit from these technological advances or oppose them entirely. There is a Luddite in all of us. Me too refused to use smartphones for a very long time. And overall, I've been a very slow adopter of new technologies. And although many people make use of things like social media, deep down we all know there are many unhealthy aspects to how these systems work. Like many, I blame the increasing polarization of our society on these platforms. The other extreme is, of course, the hacker. The people who make use of these social media platforms to get what they want. Of course, in Cyberpunk, these hackers are rarely the scammers or Nigerian princes. Either they're a kind of like noir-style investigators scouring the internet for corporate secrets and governmental conspiracies, or they're the plucky teenager rebels drenched in punk-like cultures, pulling pranks and sticking it to the man. But what I think people find more intriguing about Cyberpunk is the world that these people inhabit, or rather the seedy subcultures these characters move in. Why the themes of noir are so effective in cyberpunk settings, or rather than having a real interest in the protagonists of such stories, we see the world through their eyes. This is why such characters are often just an everyman trying to survive in an ever-technocratic world. Take Cyberpunk Edgerunners, for instance. Yeah, the story has many elements of a coming-of-age story combined with that of a power fantasy. But at its core, it's a morality tale of a young man who becomes completely addicted to cybertech, and that will lead to his eventual downfall. Many of its critics say that it's merely Games of Thrones with cybertech because so many of the characters die, but that's missing the point. The main character is being raised by a single mother who works herself to death for her son so he could live in the upper echelons of this cyberpunk dystopia. It turns to be all for naught as he gets kicked out of school and right after she dies turns to a life of crime as an edgerunner. Essentially a mercenary for various mega corporations that dominate the setting called Night City. The main character always has his mother's urn close by but never considers having children of his own. His mercenary activities make him rich and elevate him to the lifestyle that his mother wanted him to have, but he'll have no legacy to pass on. So the real tragedy is this woman sacrificed everything for her wayward son so he could have a good life and have a family. Or perhaps this is the lesson. That she was so obsessed with his future, she did not care about the needs that he had in the present. In the end, that's all he does. He lives from day to day only thinking about what kind of augment he's going to get next, like any addict would. What's important here is that David, the main character, gets completely immersed in the edgerunner culture, and that all the perils that come with that. He enjoys the camaraderie he never experienced as a kid, but also has the heavy augmentation and associated risks, such as cyberpsychosis. And it's that kind of deep dive that I believe we need more of in the steampunk settings that include subcultures, drenched in whatever technology is most prevalent. Be it the clankers operating different engines, forging punch cards and covering their tracks in an ever-increasing bureaucratic system, or niche activities like radio freakers, breaking into unsecured radio transmissions, spoofing signals, or triangulating secret government installations. It just so happens that I'm writing such a book. The Casket Girls 2, Engines of the Damned, which is about female pilots piloting steampunk robots. And it's already on pre-launch on Kickstarter. In a way, they too create their own subculture of female pilots. But we'll discuss that in a separate video. Of course, you can also develop your own subculture in our upcoming tabletop RPG, Nightwatch. Nightwatch is a role-playing game based on my book series, The Association of Ishtar, where you can create your own punk characters, be it a clanker, radio freaker, or drone operating puppeteer. And of course, yes, mech piloting Casket Girls. So please follow us on Kickstarter today. Links will be down in the description. Please tell us in the comments what you think the punk in steampunk stands for. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and of course subscribe to the channel. And with that, I'm gonna bid you adieu, and as always, make things your way.